Tzu Chi checks in on a care recipient in Changhua City after heavy rains disrupted a number of local roads. South America is currently experiencing winter as Tzu Chi volunteers distribute food in Chile and Brazil. I'm Sean Scanlan. This is DaAi Headlines. Let's get started. Changhua City was affected by heavy rain recently, with some sections of road becoming badly damaged. This affected many residents in the area, such as Liang Xuepiao, a Tzu Chi care recipient who raised 3 children alone after her husband passed away. Take a look.
As the rain stopped, Changhua volunteers came to section 581 Anxi Road, but the car could not get in. They had to walk up. However, the road sank and broke in several areas, so the volunteers had to walk on the hillside. The trail is steep and slippery, and the volunteers are cautious at every step of the way. When the volunteers followed Miss Liang back home, they realized that the situation was really bad.
I used to drive in and out from there, but now I can't get out like this.
But the most serious thing is the foundation of the house is sinking, making the house impossible to live in.
When it rains, I start to get afraid. I'm worried that I can't live here anymore because the house is also cracked.
Let's see if we can find a house for her to settle in, because the children have grown up now and they're all in the school stage. They need to settle down quickly because school is about to start.
Miss Liang is from China. Her husband has passed away due to the home being affected by rain. The family could only live with their relatives. After the weather stabilized, Tzu Chi volunteers will assist this family in renting and moving into the new home.
Online learning has become a trend during the pandemic. The Sky Academy of Tzu Chi University produced a series of online teaching courses since 2015, with videos about coronavirus, parent-child reading, and even exercise courses.
Hello everyone, I'm teacher Lai Jingrong of the Department of Physiology, School of Medicine, Tzu Chi University. Today, I'm going to talk about what is invisible hypoxia.
Education plays 2 major roles in the epidemic prevention process. The first one is the function of our education. All knowledge about the epidemic prevention. Where does this virus come from? Why is it called a virus? And what symptoms will the virus produce after entering the human body? And then the vaccine appeared.
Currently, there are 17 vaccines authorized for use in at least one country in the world. These 17 vaccines can be divided into 4 categories.
We have produced a series of videos to answer all the queries that you might find very confusing by using a simple way and some animation or background explanations.
In this brief video, I will talk about some main points of foreign media reports on Taiwan's COVID-19 situation from early 2020 to the present.
I want to find different standpoints, so I read BBC and CNN news to find different concepts. This would allow us to understand the situation more comprehensively. In fact, there are many Taiwanese in other countries. Although they live abroad, they still care about Taiwan and love Taiwan very much. This made me feel very warm. I hope that Taiwan can overcome this pandemic.
希望台湾可以克服这一次的疫情。
好，现场准备了，3、2。
In the past year or 2, due to the pandemic situation, we found that Sky Academy can play a broader role because now many parents help their children to learn online at home. So we have developed some parent-child courses.
他戴了高高的帽子，然后有一个人，赶快哦，大家可以猜一下，你觉得这个小朋友他要表达的是什么？魔术师哦。
Board games are also called unplugged games. In the past, many people might think that they haven't played board games. But in fact, Monopoly, in which many people played when they were younger, is the earliest concept of board games.
大家早安。 很开心，今天我又来跟大家一起运动。眼睛看哪里？看手的位置。
We also launched some anti-epidemic exercise courses. Tzu Chi University has such a good exercise course. In fact, it is good to exercise at home so that our body can become healthier.
Whenever we receive a message from the media or social network, we must first decide whether the message is true or not.
The most terrible thing in a society is to spread falsehoods. This series of videos from Tzu Chi University can play an educational function on epidemic prevention and also have a great effect in calming people's minds. So I hope everyone will meet together in the Sky Academy. Don't stop studying. We should accumulate our power and wait until the pandemic is over before we can set off again.
Recycling volunteer Hu Bian from Taiwan's Nangang is 84 years old and has never used a cell phone until recently. Due to the pandemic, Tzu Chi's study group went online and she had to learn how to use a cell phone to continue her participation. Although she's learning slowly, she's glad technology is there to keep her connected.
I still don't know how to use the cell phone. I press, and it doesn't work. Otherwise, the cell phone is very useful. When I see other people use it, calling him, calling her, it's good, but I just don't know how to use it.
This gift from her grandson is her first cell phone ever. Hu Bian has never had a need to use a cell phone until recently due to the pandemic life.
If it's the study group today, I get nervous. I don't know how to turn it on to participate. It's hard to use, and I just don't know how to use it.
Breathing out a big sigh, Hu Bian is unfamiliar with the cell phone. But due to her participation in the study group, she does her best to learn the ins and outs of this gadget despite her feelings for it.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. This is an old one that my grandson gave me. I don't like it. If I did like it, I would have purchased a new one.
Due to the pandemic and the stay-at-home order, she's had to learn how to use the cell phone to participate in the study group, as the study group brings her tons of joy.
He said, "Really? I'm going to go shower." He heard the master was coming, so he wanted to take a shower. That's the typical response of the Nanfang person.
Hu is 84 and unfamiliar with electronic products, but she is a good storyteller. She humbles herself and says she doesn't know very much. However, her truthfulness has inspired many.
I'm sorry, that's all I'll say for now. Other people can share now, thank you. Sister Hu Bian did well, thank you.
Though Hu Bian seems outgoing at first glance, she's had a sad past. Out of her 4 sons, 1 went missing, 1 passed away, and 2 others are sick. When talking about them, Hu always gets emotional.
Others use water to wash their face, and I use my tears. My 4 sons, 1 died, 1 is lost, and the rest are ill.
Hu Bian started at the recycling station as a volunteer, but she was still feeling down. So they asked her to join the Tzu Chi study group session. Amazingly, it became such a source of happiness for her.
I like the study group and I like listening to the master's stories. When I share my stories with others, they're happy to hear. It amazes me that someone my age could enjoy participating in the study group. Everyone is friendly there.
I try to give her as much information as possible to encourage her so she knows that Dharma is very easy to get to know. She's willing to share her thoughts, which is rare because many times people love to listen but not speak up. So when it's convenient for her, I'll give her as much information as possible.
Thinking about it, the elderly simply want companionship. Tzu Chi volunteer Huang Lijun is also here to help Hu Bian troubleshoot her cell phone issues.
I live next door, so I can be here in a minute. She can call me to say she can't get online, and I'll rush over.
Seeing grandmother Hu Bian happy each day, Huang Lijun is very comforted. In this day and age, nearly everyone has a cell phone, and Hu never thought she would join that group. But despite the difficulty in learning how to use this gadget, the internet has become a way to help her communicate with the world.
The Heart Lotus Ward of Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center is the first palliative medical care center institution in eastern Taiwan. It takes care of dying patients through an innovative model. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of the ward, a special international seminar was held. Take a look. Realizing dreams for dying patients is a task that the medical team at the Heart Lotus Ward often completes. Even in the pandemic, will overcome difficulties and achieve the mission. Looking back over the past 25 years, it adhered to patient-centered treatment.
In the palliative care ward is a prayer room. There's also a Buddhist hall. The most important point is that we also respect Catholic and Islamic rituals.
The medical team changes with the times, making good use of technology to get closer and accompany patients and their families with love and care. It also hopes to change people's past taboos and fear of death.
The attitude toward death is becoming more and more acceptable. Life is a very natural process. We want to come to this world naturally and live naturally. There is no pain, no regrets. This is the direction of our care efforts.
Elder care and palliative care are future trends, and this international seminar attracted 15,000 participants to exchange professional skills in long-term care and home care online. Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center is working with the International Cooperation and Development Fund to help Eswatini, a landlocked country in southern Africa, to promote a 5-year health improvement program. The hospital started mentoring the country's medical staff in 2019. Obstetrician Chen Baozhu visited in June to check on their progress. Take a look.
Dr. Chen Baozhu is back from Eswatini and is sharing about the latest medical update. In the past, pregnant women hardly went in for prenatal exams, but it has since improved.
One pregnant woman doing 5 prenatal exams is not that common, so this means the public's knowledge and their acceptance of doing so has been high. They have done a good job promoting such health knowledge.
To how the baby will be like in their daily routines, so we can give them some guidance.
This is from 2 years ago when doctors and nurses from Eswatini visited Hualien to undergo training. Although their medical training and care has improved since then, it was discovered that infant mortality is still on the high side.
First is that it's far from them. And second is that their transportation is not widespread, so they rely on tractors to get places. And sometimes while on the way, the baby will not make it.
Locally, they don't have a pediatrics ICU, nor are they even familiar with how to use an ultrasound.
We suggested they set up 2 hospitals with pediatric ICU, and they can send some medical staff, 1 doctor, 2 nurses to train.
To continue forward, online teaching can be used, as it is hoped that Eswatini's pregnant women and infants can have a better chance at survival.
It's winter in South America, and many are suffering due to COVID, with some vulnerable families not getting 3 meals a day. Tzu Chi volunteers in both Brazil and Chile have prepared food and essential daily necessities for those in need. For the 8th time, a distribution took place in Maipú, Chile. 27 volunteers set up the venue, and local residents had already stood in line for 1 hour.
We are very grateful. We are ready to cooperate with your operating procedures. The people who register to receive supplies include families of unemployed people who have been diagnosed with COVID, and also families with sick patients and families with financial difficulties. It's great that Tzu Chi is giving this assistance, and I represent everyone in giving these thanks.
Thank you so much for your help letting children get through this difficult time. Your kind deeds are really wonderful.
Many times we didn't get any help, but this time you made such an important contribution. This brings infinite happiness to each of us.
Happiness can be accumulated and continued with every kind thought and action. Esther, who lives in Brazil, also contributes to the community.
After I met Tzu Chi 10 years ago, my life changed. I have never been unemployed again, and my life has changed for the better. There is no shortage of supplies anymore, and I learned to be willing to give up something to get something. I am very grateful to Tzu Chi for teaching me the spirit of the Bamboo Con Bank.
Local volunteers in the community of Faraz handled the registration, and a school for autistic children provided space to make the distribution go smoothly. To send warmth in the cold winter, food boxes were distributed to help poor families relieve daily pressures. A care recipient who was paralyzed by a car accident for 14 years did not miss out on this Tzu Chi distribution. A job bank conducted a survey on the eve of Father's Day and found that many working dads work up to 10 hours on average. The time spent with their children on working days is only 1 hour. This year, Jingsi Youth Volunteer Humanitarian Camp was hosted online, and more than 500 children learned and had fun with their parents.
The children stared at the screen intensely as they tried hard to do the sign language with their little hands. Although the movements were not perfect, their attitude was absolutely serious.
如果喜欢它漂亮一点，有颜色，你看，我再加个，这个是什么？番茄。
Volunteers conducted an online course to teach children how to make vegetarian sushi, planting seeds of kindness in children's hearts when they are small. This year, because of the pandemic, the Jingsi Young Volunteer Humanitarian Camp was changed to be hosted online for the first time. Besides Taiwan, more than 500 children from the United States, Japan, Malaysia, and so on have signed up doing sushi with their parents. This parent-child activity also matches with the theme this year.
我们营队的主题是什么？大家一起念好不好？1、2、3，行孝，行善，不能等。
The parrot sheep swayed higher and higher, making the children scream in excitement. On Father's Day, which happened to be on Sunday, many parents seized the time to bring their children to the amusement park.
Sometimes I have to work overtime. When I get home, they're ready to go to bed, so that the time getting along with them is very short. During holiday like weekends, I'll normally take them out.
During workday, I probably can only stay with my children in the morning before sending them to school. When I go home, they almost sleep.
According to a survey conducted by a manpower bank, fathers' average working hours in the workplace is 10 hours. High working hours may lead to the risk of overwork. It may also reduce the time spent with children.
On average, fathers have only about 1 hour a day to stay with their children, leading to a relatively distant parent-child relationship. Of course, their fatigue index is also higher than that of last year.
Up to 80% of working fathers find it difficult to balance career and life. But after all, they need a stable and good income to ensure their children's lives. It is a problem for many fathers to strive for a balance between work and family.
This year, Tzu Chi Jingsi Books and Cafe's Young Volunteer Humanitarian Camp was hosted online. Everyone shared their experience on the internet, and low volunteers have grown up and become more sensible. Their work experience in the cafe has fostered their character.
双手付出，爬心。
Thousands of children's faces fill the entire screen, joining the Young Volunteers Humanitarian Camp online.
大家好，我是近视。
Hi everyone, I'm Yu Haochen, a young volunteer at the Banqiao Jingsi Books and Cafe.
好。
This year, Tzu Chi Jingsi Books and Cafe's Young Volunteer Humanitarian Camp was changed to an online session. In the past, when people walked into the cafe, they would see these cute little figures helping out. Now, some of them have grown up and wanted to share their experience.
那个时刻还很小，应该是还在幼儿园。
Back then, they were very young, about kindergarten, right? Now she's in the 8th grade. He's already an elementary student.
他现在是小学了，对。
This is Liu Xiquan. Everyone calls him Quan Quan. He's already an elementary student, yet his signature hairstyle is still the same.
做小志工就是。
Being a little volunteer, I've learned a lot, for example, cleaning the table or sweeping the floor, and product replenishment as well. All these can be practiced in daily life. I can also help my parents with house chores.
As for this little girl, is Jinpei Qi. With an oval-shaped face and 2 ponytails, she has melted the heart of many people. Now, this lovely street little girl has become a beautiful teenager.
Confucius taught us to be nice to our parents. I think I need to work harder in this area, for example, by helping to give a massage.
Everyone has become knowledgeable and courteous, especially paying much attention to filial piety. Although the work experience in the cafe is only a small part on the growth track, it allows them to get in touch with society early and broaden their horizons.
Starting from mid-June, 5 Jingse halls in New Taipei City have jointly assumed the function of assisting in vaccination. More than 3,000 volunteers joined the ranks of serving. The Luzhou Jingse Hall fulfilled the last day of vaccine delivery. To celebrate the mission completion, a simple Thanksgiving ceremony was held with anti-epidemic measures observed. The apples are personally served at lunch, as these volunteers will soon complete the task of COVID vaccination.
Every day, we have an average of 700 people getting a vaccine. This means that we have formed a good relationship with 21,000 people.
The gentleness of Su Minhui is the epitome of many volunteers. Starting from June 15th, Luzhou Jingse Hall has taken on the heavy responsibility of delivering vaccines. The process had to abide by pandemic prevention guidelines. A small number of public officials, team members, and Tzu Chi volunteers took up important positions. From an orderly flow, health education to a clean environment, volunteers thrive to provide a 5-star service.
Early in the morning, we came at around 7 o'clock. We cleaned everywhere, wiped the tables and chairs with alcohol, and mopped the floor. When the frontline medical care workers arrived, we then made tea.
Our manpower was insufficient. Fortunately, team members and other long-term healthcare workers helped us complete this task.
They not only provide us with good breakfast, lunch, dinner, but even drinks. Today we just gave them little gifts as payback.
The Deputy Superintendent of Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital personally thanked the volunteer team for providing 53 days of service together. The vaccination service ended on August 6, serving more than 20,000 people. Their intimate service has moved many people to fill the signboard with thank you messages.
When we asked people to thank the medical staff, everyone was very willing to express gratitude.
The COVID pandemic in Malaysia continues as Perak Tzu Chi volunteers sent care packages to medical staff at major hospitals, which include daily use items and hand-painted blessing cards. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.